The site scanners or page scanners that I'm going to go over in this video are mostly browser extensions, and they're going to give you a much more in-depth list of things to fix without having to use individual tools. They're really great for seeing the overall status of a page at a glance and seeing all the issues that can be picked up from an automatic scanner in one place. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, so test them all out for a bit and pick the one that works best for you. The first one that I'm going to mention is from Accessible Web. It's a web accessibility extension. They go over all of the different things available on their website, but it's a good extension for finding some areas to fix. It's a solid tool. It's a really great place to start to fix what it picks up. They have a paid version and they have a tool on their site that you can paste a URL directly into. If we take a look at an example site, I'm just going to use showit.com. Once you open up the extension, it lets you decide what rule set you want to use to test. Right now I'm using 2.2 AA. 2.1 AA is also a common one that you might want to run. So if we run that one on this page, we can see that the scan results are pretty decent. It's 82 out of 100. They have some color contrast issues, the HTML lang attribute, some links that don't have discernible text. But if we take a look at the page itself, we can see that there's also some animation on this page that isn't able to be paused. So we can sort of see how these tools are really helpful at picking up some things, but other things are going to require some kind of human manual testing to make sure that everything is meeting the appropriate standards. The next one I want to mention is the Wave extension tool. It's a pretty comprehensive extension. It looks for errors as well as provides a list of other helpful things that might be needed for manual investigation. There are some additional tools built into the extension to give a pretty good picture of what's on the page, and they have a tool on their site that you can paste the URL into as well. If we take a look at Showit as our example and we turn on the Wave evaluation tool, we can see that it opens up this sidebar of things, and it shows a little bit of a different picture than the previous tool did. So we have quite a few errors and contrast errors, alerts, and you can go into more details in these different tabs. So some of the errors are missing forum labels, empty links, and then the contrast errors. And then if we look at the site in the right side of the screen, we can see the different sort of floating icons that will highlight what the different issues are. And if you click on one of the items in this list, it will take you to the part of the page that is the problem. And like I said, it gives you some additional information as well. So some structural elements, it's showing you that these things are here. Now, one of the problems, this is just providing you with information, right? And so you can take this and then investigate further. This page should not have this many H1s. And so we can take a look at what that is and why there are so many of them and make whatever decision we need in order to move forward and make the site more accessible. You can see that some of the items, again, this is an animation, so it's a little harder to tell, but it's showing you the different ARIA labels and the different components that each of the elements on the site are made up of. It even gives you your tab order, which is really helpful. And you can see that there's no accessible name for some of these things. Do all of these things need to be links? How do we go about fixing this list of focusable items? Is it in the right order? And then it also gives you your site structure as well. And then as for the contrast that it provides, if you click on one of the items below that have a contrast issue, it'll then call out the colors in that. And so it will try to calculate appropriately what the color contrast issues are. Color contrast can kind of be a little bit more of a difficult thing to test for. Because of the way that you can set background colors, it might be a little bit more difficult to discover what the background color actually is. So this obviously isn't foolproof, and it's just providing you some additional information and hopefully to try to make it a little easier to test that color contrast. So that's a really comprehensive tool to use. The next tool I want to bring up is the Axe DevTools. It's something that you use in the developer tools when you inspect a page. Once you have the browser extension installed, you open up your DevTools and go over to the Axe DevTools tab, and then it will present you with all of the options that are available to you. They have a ton of paid pro features. You can do a full page scan and it will show you your results. They also have some other things that you can do. There's guided tests and a lot of things that are free. That's why this is a little bit lower on the list. It's a much more heavy duty tool. It's a little bit more developer focused. And so if you do feel comfortable using it, it's a great tool to check out, but it might be a little bit more advanced. And this was scanning our Showit site. So this is picking up 43 total issues. It's giving you different severity levels for them. It's giving you a summary. Interactive controls must not be nested. So this gives you a pretty good explanation of what that means. So it is showing you some of the same things that the other tools picked up. It does have this additional item that the other tools didn't have. So it's really great to try out all of these different tools and see which one works for you. The last one I'll mention here is the Accessibility Checker plugin. It's a great option if you have a WordPress site, but they also have a ton of resources regardless of your platform. It's a great site scanner that will often take context into account, like checking if you have a transcript added for your videos. And since it's installed on your site, you have the opportunity to automatically scan pages, track your progress, save your ignored errors. They also have a pro version that expands the plugin's capabilities. The free version is right in the plugin directory. And then they have a ton of documentation regarding their plugin, but then also regarding what the plugin is actually testing for. So there is just a wealth of information. Basically what happens is you scan your site, they give you a bit of a dashboard to take a look at, and then you can dive down on the individual pages or within a more aggregated list within the admin. This is not an exhaustive list of all of the different site scanners and page scanners that are out there. There are a bunch more. These are just the ones that I use and I trust, and that can help you get started with testing for accessibility. I'll add links to all the tools that I reference in the description. That's going to bring us to the end of our session. Make sure to check out the other accessibility testing tools in the rest of the videos.